Okay, I believe we're ready to go. Chris, are we ready to go?
You are live.
Excellent. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Jim Fleeler again, coming to you live from Ontario on Friday, May the 29th, which is hard to believe that next week is actually June, which is, boy, I can't believe how fast that time's going. But certainly, we hope you and your families and any employees are staying safe. That's really the utmost importance there for sure. Thank you for joining us once again. Or if you're attending for the first time, last week alone, we had 61 new registrants alone, a brand new registrants just from last week, which was terrific over and above all of our regulars, which we appreciate. You would have got an email this week that talked about a new registration, and we simply had to do that because the popularity and and a few upgrades we needed to do here and there. So thank you for understanding, but it is the same people you're getting on the end here. So today's really remarks is this is not a Hollywood movie that we're experiencing here. I've heard a lot of people talk about comparing what's going on now with the similarities of many movies from the past. But this is the real world. And the loss of life is increasing in historic numbers, and most of those losses of life are preventable, and it's very, very serious. So why we do this is we hope that together everybody's listening and learning and implementing new ideologies, because that's really our goal, and that's why we're here, and we're trying to assist you with everything that we possibly can. Our registration numbers, like I said before, prove that you are engaged. We are increasing popularity, and that's really we respect that immensely. Adding to the pressure of the loss of life across the world and the COVID-19 and coronavirus, I mean, there are going to be smaller facility budgets. Without doubt, they're going to be there. Probably most likely there'll be less labor. How do you get the labor back that you had pre-coronavirus? The demand for cleaning frequencies will increase dramatically, by the way. The quality of cleaning needs to improve, and it'll actually be an absolute must without doubt there. We, the public, are not going to tolerate unsafe and unclean facilities any longer. We're not going to eat in dirty restaurants. We're not going to stay in dirty hotels. We're not that we actually did that before, but now we're going to second guess the best. Is really what we're going to do. I've had friends in the last week, due to necessity, stay in hotels, walking into hotels, and basically everything is sticky. There's major complaints where they've been in using sprayers and things and fogging down and not rinsing areas and stuff. Leaving that sticky residue on the surfaces is not the best thing to do. We've talked about that, right? So cleaning protocol has to continuously be revisited. The workplace atmosphere, it's going to change forever, no matter what type of industry you're going to be in. Workplaces, workspaces, lunchrooms, washrooms, meeting rooms, face-to-face communication, and the adapting to and the expansion of virtual methods will change us forever. I mean, I've often talked about this. I mean, I haven't been on a plane since March the 3rd, which I appreciate, by the way, and I'm still successfully handling and hosting my meetings and communications across Canada without a hitch. So I'm adapting to that relatively easy, and the whole world will actually do that. The need. So how do we adapt here? Simple, precise, properly planned cleaning programs combined with labor efficiencies. Really one little sentence that says, keep it simple, keep it precise, properly planned, combine and using labor efficiencies. That's what we've been talking about here. And we invite you to go back to our very initial webinars that we did in the early part of March, because we don't hide them from anybody. They're on the Charlotte websites. Our distributors have them on their websites, some of them. Revisit them. Use them to re-engage your employees when they come back, if not the few that are back now. Re-engage those, right? Fine tune it to your workspace or your facility or even your residential life. I mean, we even handled one about groceries and the safety there and things. So use these things, right? Because if you just adapt one of those things, it's going to be a better, cleaner, safer life and planet for everybody, and you're going to lower the risk of an outbreak. On a supplier notice, because we usually do that, is obviously there's increased shortages in raw materials, and it's very, very serious. We continue to work behind the scenes at Charlotte there to ensure there's an ample supply of products and that we can share and make sure everybody gets enough of everything to ensure that their facilities are disinfected and sanitized and clean. We've ramped up production of our concentrated disinfectants again. There was a little bit of a time where we had to focus on some ready to use, but now we're back actually ramping them up to the dilutable ones. Not full speed, but we're getting there every single week. For those of you that I know we had a few moans about, we had to reduce the amount of trigger sprayers in our cases with our ready to use disinfectants, and whether that was our ES15 or whether it was our distributors, some of our private branded ready to use disinfectants. But the good news now is starting next week, we are putting 6 back in the box. We're not putting them on the bottle as we once did. But we're actually throwing them loose leaf into the box. So that's a good thing, and that's a good sign. Our alcohol-based hand sanitizer, we put Asquith on the spot with that a little bit there, but we've had a good supply come in this week. That's gone, by the way, but each week we're going to have a little bit more, so I see a little light at the end of the tunnel, and we put him on the spot there. So that's good. And by the way, I know there's already a question came in about Asquith about explaining the quality of ours, and Asquith's actually over in the corner here right now, and he's just chomping at the bit to actually explain that to us, aren't you, Asquith?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so he's there. And we, as always, we suggest ordering extra cleaners, disinfectants and sanitizers in both concentrates and ready to use, and because believe me, the second wave will be here. So with that being said, we appreciate your participation and your eagerness to learn and follow along. So let's begin. Let's get started today. Okay, May the 29th, I've talked about that already. Me, you don't need to know from me anymore because I'm sure you've heard enough of me without question. But this week's discussion, obviously our title, Cleaning Protocols to Lower the Risk of an Outbreak. It is weekly. Submit your questions. We've got Matt working behind the scenes. I think Jen's there. I know Chris is there. He's gathering a list of those questions, and we'll do the open mic at the end. Today, we're going to talk about plexiglass and the sneeze guard cleaning techniques, because that's coming from you. People are saying now there's a whole, there's so many, all of a sudden these sort of came overnight, these sneeze guards and plexiglass to protect the employees in facilities and to protect those of the visit that are visiting your facilities. And the custodial world has been asking us, how do I clean them? Do I have to disinfect them? Am I okay with glass cleaner or whatever? So we're going to cover that. We got an 8-minute video there for you on that. And then there's been a ton of questions about the ready-to-use costs of cleaners and the calculations and dilutions and yield. So we've added a little floor finish and stuff in here today to talk about that. So again, a lot of good information for you, and keep those questions coming because this really helps us with the content of our sessions. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, and I will every week, and because it's really the largest area of failure. But disinfectants, finally, I think we're getting it where people are really starting to focus. You always have to use a registered product. You have to read the label. It isn't just there to identify the product. It's there to give you all of the directions. It's got to be diluted properly, regardless of whether it's a sprayer or a trigger sprayer or a charge bucket or a bucket or an auto scrubber or whatever. You always have to pre-clean surfaces. If you don't do that, you're obviously missing the step. The dwell time or the contact time is critical, whatever the product says, whether it's 60 seconds or 60 minutes. It doesn't matter what it is, and everything in between. You've got to respect that. And of course, around food contact surfaces and preschool children's toys and things, you need a potable water rinse. But follow the instructions and the directions on the label, and you'll do just fine. Now we'll go right into the new plexiglass sneeze guard shield cleaning. This is a brand new sheet that was designed 3 days ago, coming from you and your questions. So we love the way that we can actually adapt quickly to introduce things that answer questions. So we have a video coming up on that. But this identifies the products. You can see there's color-coded microfiber cloths. It identifies our ES72, which is our peroxide-based universal cleaner. Exceptional glass plexiglass, cleaner, stainless steel, aluminum, it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, certainly safe for those surfaces, you know, and the disinfectant of choice, if you're a facility that requires disinfecting of these screens, maybe it's a hospital in the triage unit or whatever it may be, or any kind of healthcare facility. I mean, you certainly want to be able to disinfect and clean these things, and you want to do it safely. So this will be available online immediately following the on the video. And before I get to the video, there's a couple of things. I don't normally, you know, really talk about brands much and things. I try to sort of stay away from that just because of you know, I just don't want to, you know, it's the right thing to do. But recently I've had this Unger Stingray wash system here sent, and I actually tried it, and I can tell you it ties right in with the plexiglass cleaning. It's a triangular shape. It gets in the rectangular corners extremely well. It actually has a series of extension wands as well, so you can go about 12 feet in the air if you want to, or reach around corners. But what it has is it has an automatic little mister that there's a self-contained. Oh, please, sorry. There's a self-contained bottle inside that you can put your glass cleaner in or your disinfectant in, and at the push of a button down here, it simply dispenses it out here right on your glass surface safely, and you can use that for cleaning your plexiglass. So it has the actual different mop heads and things on it, coarse ones, plush ones, and then even drying cloths too. So that's the Unger Stingray. And like I say, I normally don't get into talking about those things, but it just ties in so nice and neat and safe with cleaning plexiglass and glass surfaces and tall windows and glass throughout any of your facilities. So that's why I thought I'd spend a couple of minutes talking about that, and by all means you should look into that and ask for a demo or to look at one, or just buy one outright. So let's go to the video, Chris, and this is 8 minutes in length, and this will be all talking about the different methods of cleaning and safeguarding your plexiglass. Well, hello everybody. Jim Fleeler, Vice President of Sales for Charlotte Products in Canada. Thank you for joining us today on today's short YouTube video. We've had a lot of questions in the last several weeks about how to clean plexiglass, the sneeze guards, the employee shields and things. What we do know is there's going to be a tremendous ramp up in the installations of those in all kinds of different facilities, and then poses the question, really, how do I clean them, right? What we do know is there's going to be a lot more stress and sort of focus on the need to clean and disinfect. So caretakers and custodians and janitors alike will need to say, well, how do I properly clean these items, right? So that's what we hope to cover here today. This was a great recommendation from our US division, so thank you to all of the employees there that really came up and said, listening to their customer and saying, what do we need to do to address this problem? So that's what we're going to do. So why don't we begin? Okay, so now let's just show you a little bit on how to clean these plexiglass employee screens and guards. There's no question there's going to be more of them throughout facilities, and custodial people and janitors will be asked on what's the best way to do it without damaging them, because it is a capital investment. Let's make sure we protect that. First warning is you never, ever, ever use one of these scour pads. Doesn't matter what manufacturer, what color it is, and you also never use a cream cleanser. They have grit in it, they'll have a jeweler's polish. You will use these once, and people use them in good intent to get rid of dried debris and some crusty items that are left on there, but if you use that, you will only use it once on there because you'll permanently damage that. So just as a word of caution, do not do that, okay? As far as the glass cleaning goes, you know, cleaning with a good quality glass cleaner is really our best suggestion, our first suggestion, and we'll talk about disinfecting in a minute. And one of the things we've done by listening to you is we've developed a program in less than 3 or 4 days that really is about cleaning and disinfecting and safeguarding your plexiglass. There's going to be different qualities. We've talked about that. Some better than others, some will be more sensitive. So let's treat it properly. This uses our ES72 program, our universal cleaner, glass cleaner, those things. It also uses our ES64 or our 364 disinfectant program, all in the wall-mounted dispensers, color-coded bottles. Just simply take the cap off, put it on the dispenser, fill the appropriate color, and away you go. The least expensive ready-to-use cleaning program that you'll ever see, ever. Far less money than buying it any other way. So if your budget is a concern, which it probably will be post-coronavirus, this is something that you want to look at, right? Of course, you can clean windows with a good quality glass cleaner. This is our ES77 NFP. NFP stands for no flash point. No flash point, no alcohol. Do you think I really want to use alcohol and methyl hydrates and things on these particular surfaces? I want to reduce that because, again, I don't want to bite in and dull this. So very simply, safe to use, Eco Logo certified. You can see here I've got a little bit of dirt and debris and oils and who knows what's there. And glass cleaning is just as simple. Oh, I grabbed the wrong cloth. Just as simple as spraying and wipe. There's nothing new there, just giving it a buff polish. And away you go. So you see that flashes off extremely well. When it also comes to glass cleaning, we've talked about it before, there's such a thing called a foaming trigger head. I can take this, put it on any single glass cleaner, and when I've got dried debris, I can spray it, okay, and you'll see the foam that I get. Right? That foam will actually dwell a little bit longer. Okay, if you can see here, it'll bite into crusty things that are there for me. Again, helping me with labor efficiencies. Same exact way, just a little bit of foam. Now, those foaming trigger sprayers work really good around faucets and taps and surfaces like that as well. So if you've got buildup there, try using that. It'll extend the life of your cleaning product that you're using, give you dwell time, and give you some labor efficiencies. Of course, a couple of other different ways here are is our trowels we talked about, right? You would dip this in your solution, whether it's a cleaner or disinfectant, right? And just simply, like we've done YouTube videos before, okay, you would do this kind of thing. And then also there's many drying cloths, we've talked about them, microfiber cloths that you can do there, or you can actually use a squeegee if you don't have the drying cloths, right? We've talked about this one, our scrub sleeve. This will be a part of any window kit. Pretend this is wet, it's dry here just for this YouTube video. But simply, I've got lots of glass, or lots of plexiglass to clean. You can see I can go through these surfaces relatively quickly. Using a rectangular bucket is usually the best way, and I want a squeegee, okay, and I can do that extremely fast. Wipe my squeegee blade off with my cloth, and I'm done. So if you've got one glass, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but if you've got these through an office building and there could be 50 or 60, that's probably the most efficient way that you could do it, right? The other thing too, when it comes to disinfecting, okay, do you need to disinfect your plexiglass? That's a decision usually that infection control will make within the facility, maybe HR or whatever. If you're a food surface area, if you're a medical LTC home or something, you may want to definitely check with that, because if people are coming into triage, they're sick, maybe they have an accidental mistake or whatever, you could have bodily fluids. So should I disinfect then? We probably think so, right? So it's just as simple. This is our ES15. This is our latest innovative disinfectant, 5-minute dwell time, neutral, norovirus kill claim, and it's just a matter as simply spraying. Okay, for the purposes of the video, every disinfectant you want to spray, and you want to do a pre-clean. Okay, so that's removing gross film, right? So I've done that step, and then now what I'm going to do is just simply spray and let it sit the required dwell time. ES15 is 5 minutes, and I'm going to give it a wipe, okay? And always, 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 you need to do treat this as if it's a food surface and do a potable water rinse. We've talked about these charge buckets before. This is just plain water, and disinfectants can be fairly aggressive depending on the one that you want. We don't want to bite in and dull your plexiglass, so what you can see, I'm just giving it what I would call a potable water rinse. I'm going to take a clean buffing cloth, okay, the other sides of the microfiber. I'm going to give it a final wipe, and I've got a disinfected sneeze guard, employee guard for my people, for my employees, lowering the risk there. So that's several different ways, and of course, ES15, I would be certainly forgetful if I didn't talk about this. Our pump-up sprayer. the most ergonomically correct, the fastest way to reduce labor. Just simply the same thing. Like, look at the coverage I've got out of that in just seconds. Far better. I can do that. I can do a pre-clean, okay? I can do the same exact thing where I would apply it again and then do a potable water rinse and I'm set, okay? So lots of different ways for you to clean this. The big thing there is making sure you add it to your custodial janitorial cleaning protocol. Employees will feel safer. Make sure you do both sides, as a matter of fact, just not one side. And really at Charlotte, this is just one, I guess, original, innovative way to help you lower the risk of an outbreak. Thank you. You tell me. Good to go? Okay, excellent. So hopefully you got some good ideas out of that 8-minute video there. Be sure to share that with your teams and train people. You've got a big investment in those plexiglass sneeze guards. Let's protect them. Use them right, clean them right, and they'll last you for years and years and years, and they're there for a reason. And obviously, I did mention in the video cleaning both sides. It's important to protect both the public and also your employees as well there. So last week, we always talk about the almighty dollar and budgets because we spend a lot of our time trying to teach people the breakdown of that in the spend, because we're really trying to help you with achieving your budget, because we don't believe post coronavirus you're going to have more money. You probably won't even have the same, and we continue to talk about that. But 90% of your labor or 90% of your cost is labor. Less than 10% is the cost of supplies, and that's where continuously you're asking about, well, can you teach me how to do cost calculations? And that's what we're going to actually do now. And this week, I thought I would actually add this. I do speaking across the country, and I have a real nice gold foil $100 bill. It has no cash value, by the way. It's not real, so don't get excited that way. But if you're any kind of presenting and teaching your customers or talking in front of anybody in our custodial world, this is a nice way, a unique way it gets everybody's attention instead of a paper one. So the first person that actually sends in the question that they actually want this dollar bill and your address, we're certainly going to send it to you. So we just brought those in, and away we'll go. But really, dollars and cents is what you want to talk about. So I always like to, we've talked about our concentrated wall mounted systems, and I want to review it just quickly. I'm not going to show it to you this week because it's on our actual videos, but the benefits of these dilution control systems are safer. You improve employee wellness. You lower the risk of cross contamination. You lower the risk of employee, skin sensitivity, spills, splashes. There's no chemical contact. They're very substantial claims against a multitude of bacteria and viruses, including relative to COVID-19 and SARS and CoV-2. It's improved sustainability. You've got less plastic in the landfill, and the next few slides is going to show you the impact of that visually. It's absolutely the lowest cost. It's going to have an unbelievable impact on your budgets, and if they are reduced, it's the lowest cost. There's nothing less expensive, period. Right. So for those people that actually are always looking at price, this is a system probably that perhaps fits. It's extremely accurate dilution. You ensure that it's more effective detergency and your ppm count. And you've always seen us talk about this, your best little friend here, this ppm paper. This is something that you need to have. Every single member of your janitorial crew needs to actually have that. Produces a better overall clean when it's mixed properly. There's labor efficiencies there, because if it cleans better, guess what? Custodial and janitorial people don't need to spend the amount of time coming back, eliminating residual, spending a lot of time cleaning spots and stains and things like that. It actually does it correctly the first time there. And it's not a question of whether you need that dilution control system or not, or some form of dilution control. It's really which system best suits your facility. And before I switch off of this, I just want to give a little, I know I thanked our US people, but Alan Halstead, out of our U.S. division, was instrumental with our PlexiGuard Safeguard cleaning program there. So I just wanted to give a shout out to him and say, Alan, thank you very much for that. We really appreciate all of your efforts there. That's for sure. So what I've got here, I'll talk about some cost calculations. Now on our Charlotte website, we have a lot of tools that can help you, with price. And this is a dilution cost calculator. These are all plug and play, ready to go. So you insert your price in there. I've used MRSP in this case. I believe I did. Anyway, there's all different zones across North America as well. So I just put in a price here, and this is the packaging and the codes. And all you need to do is put in what price you're getting, you're paying for this case, and press enter, and it automatically calculates and tells you how much it costs ready to use. And if you're talking about, if you're using a bottle, and it could be any particular bottle that you have, trigger sprayer, and if it's a dilution, if you're paying $10 and you're saying, well, this product, I can get it down the street for $9 or $8 or whatever, it really comes down to what dilution ratio you're talking about. But what I will tell you is all of those benefits on the dilution control system, the one on the screen before, look at this, glass cleaner. The best quality glass cleaner, Eco Logo certified, clean stainless steel glass, Plexiglass, aluminum, all of these particular things is less than 10 cents a liter, ready to use. 10 cents a liter. In fact, if you're buying it in the put up with the 4.73, the 1.25 US gallon, it is 7 cents a liter. That means this bottle is 7 cents. Okay, your heavy duty cleaner. If you take your best bottle of heavy duty cleaner, you may buy, or a carpet spotter or whatever it is, you're going to pay $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 for that. It is $1.28. Right? And just, a disinfectant, how much would you pay for a quart bottle or a benign 46 ml bottle of a disinfectant? You're going to pay $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10, $12, $14, $18, $20. This here is 24 cents a liter, ready to use. 24 cents. I mean, so these tools are online. Get a hold of your specialist there, your Enviro Solutions distributor rep, and talk to them, because these things are done at the click of a button there, and there's nothing less expensive that's out there. Right. Then we're going to talk about packaging price, because people, and I've put a price here of $40. This is our ES364. It's our latest registered disinfectant, effective against COVID-19, neutral formulation, 5-minute dwell time, norovirus kill claim. The list goes on and on and on. And we had one of the questions last week where, well, how much does it make? So if you look on the left side of the screen, you'll see a 3.78 liter container, or a 1 gallon US container there. The dilution ratio is 1 to 64. So, and some people struggle with this, and that's why you ask the questions, because you don't ask it because it's a silly question. You ask it because you want some real good, honest truth behind it. You're going to, when it says a dilution of 1 to 64, you're going to take that one container of concentrated disinfectant, and you're going to add 64 gallons of water to that mixture. So if you take your one concentrate product to start with, you add 64 gallons, you take 1 gallon plus 64 gallons, your product yield is 65 gallons. The $40 may seem expensive. You look at it and someone's going to offer it to you for 28 or what, or 10 or 38 or whatever. But you need to take the cost of it and divide 65 into the $40. You will get a registered disinfectant, the best one probably in the planet by far, okay, under our Enviro Solutions rent for 62 cents a gallon, ready to use. You can't get less than that, right? For the top quality product. And it does not just a disinfectant we're talking about. It could be a glass cleaner that dilutes maybe 1 to 10. It could be an all-purpose cleaner that dilutes 1 to 256. If you're struggling with these ready-to-use costs, reach out to us, because we will help you, right? It's critical that you compare those product dilutions. Look at this. The same bottle, the same price. We've taken it from gallons now. We've taken it down to trigger bottles. And imagine this. This gallon will make 246 trigger bottles of ready-to-use disinfectant, diluted at 1 to 64. That equates to 16 cents per diluted bottle. 16 cents. for an absolute unbelievable disinfectant, right? So when you're taking the cost, and you remember this dollar bill, we're only playing with less than 10%. We're playing with the small portion here, right? We'll help you with the labor efficiencies to go along with it. So hopefully that gives you a little better understanding. I want to talk about floor finish now too, because it's one of the popular questions. And as our webinars go along, we're going to talk about finish and stripping floors and scrubbing and recoating and all these things where we can help you with the labor efficiencies. That's really where we want to go. And there's a lot of variances with floor finish. You know, and it usually comes down to price. How much is yours, right? And it's the least relevant, by the way, the price, because there's all kinds of different floor finishes and makeups, and I'll spend a few minutes and explain that to you. So most decisions are based on the percentage of the solids every time, right? If I see an RFP or a tender or something, it'll say, how much is your 20% solids floor finish? Believe me, that is irrelevant. Right? It doesn't matter what it is. Typically solids are between 18 and 20, 22 and 24%. And customers will usually request the same percentage solids that they've always bought, you know, and they're basically, if you've got a 20% and manufacturer 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 have a 20%, they will never, ever be the same, by the way. And I'll talk to you about that in a second. These purchasing histories are off historic tenders and RFP requests, and the quality of the polymers is really that makes up that percentages of solids is major relevance for you, and I'll talk about that now, right? Okay, there are polymers in floor finishes without question. People just say it's 20% or 22 or 18 or whatever, but there's a thing called the PA ratio, and that stands for polymers and alkaline resins and waxes, and it's a whole combination, and I'll relate to it as a chocolate cake. If you're going to make a chocolate cake, you need flour, you need water, you need eggs, you need milk, you need cocoa, you need sugar, whatever it is. If everybody was in the room and we had all of those ingredients on the kitchen counter, we're all going to end up with a chocolate cake. But you may use 2 eggs, I may use 3, somebody else may use 4, someone else may use skim milk, someone else may use 1% or 2% or whatever. We're all going to get a chocolate cake, just like we're going to get floor finish, and we'll have a 20% solids floor finish, but the makeup, the recipe that goes into it is the thing that varies. What do we do at Charlotte Best? We know facilities. We know once we understand and listen to you and we find out your objectives of your facility, we can custom design these floor finishes for you. And there's a lot of different things that you want to put into it. I mean, do you want slip and fall protection? In other words, you need the best foot protection. Do you want a high gloss? Do you want a low gloss? Are you a senior's home where a high gloss can intimidate them? Do you want repairability? Do you want a fast dry? Do you want scuff mark resistance? Do you want to be able to burnish? Do you want to be able to buff? These are all the things that go into our makeup here that makes the difference between a floor coating program that lasts 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, or something that you've got to scrub and recoat or deep strip. Sustainability is the key. Generally, the higher the percentage of solids there, the more protective coating is left behind. As a matter of fact, if you've got exceptional custodial skill set and the correct finish for your exact type of facility, you can actually reduce the amount of coating you need to put down, saving you labor costs, and that's something we can help you post-coronavirus there. So, you know, there's sustainability losses or gains. Just don't go with a green so-called certified finish if it isn't, and there's basically gains and losses there if you do it. That's where you need a floor care specialist for that by far. Okay. When I talk about floor finish, and this is where it comes around to it with the square footage, the label will tell you it's maybe 1,500 square feet, maybe 800 square feet, maybe 2,000 square feet per gallon. But that square footage really depends on the experience level of the custodian person that's putting it down. The thickness of the coat is critical when you're putting it down there. So, and what you will know is if you're starting with a bare tile, so a completely deep strip floor, it's very porous. So that first coat of sealer or finish will suck into that. So I'll just show you. I've got a little tile demo here. I just wanted to show you quickly. and we'll just get our IT personnel to put that on. And this is just a VCT tile. And basically visually, I want to show you the difference. So if you're putting it down with a string mop or you're putting it down with a flat mop, a microfiber flat mop system, that's going to vary. The speed in which the custodial person goes as well is critical. And I'll put a glove on here because I don't want to have shiny fingers, as a matter of fact, so I better do that. And I don't want to have shiny fingers or fingernails. So you'll see this is a flat matte vinyl tile, and I'm going to just use this Kleenex as basically as a mop head. And you'll see there. Look at how thick that is. You can see the blue, coming from that. That is thick. That's too thick. If you're putting it down that way, the label may say 2,000 square feet per gallon, but trust me, you're probably going to get 500 or 600 from there. Okay. If I take, and you'll see here, I'll just, for the camera's sake, you can see a bit of blue through that. That's what I would refer to as a medium coat. And if you see this way here, okay, and I'll do it a little larger, you can see very, very little blue depending on the angle that you're on. And what you're going to have there, you're going to have multiple coats of a thinner coat will be durable almost every single time. This medium one will start to set up in about 10 or 15 or 20 minutes or so. Obviously not ready for at least 30 minutes or so for recoating, or 45. But this first one with a thick coat, you are going to be a long time waiting for that to dry. Remembering 90% of your labor is attributed, or your cost is attributed to labor. So that's going to take longer. So you're going to have your custodial janitorial crew sitting around waiting for floor finish to dry. And by the way, the durability of fewer thick coats is not near as durable as more frequent thin to medium coats. So that's just a little bit there about floor finish, and I wanted to share that. And that really comes down to labor efficiencies and square footage yield and things like that. So don't be fooled by someone telling you that you can get 3,000 or 3,500 or 4,000 square feet per gallon. You can if you put it on microscopically thin, but it's failing to do the job, right? Also, I'll just put a plug in for our finishes there. They're all UL registered, which means they're third-party registration that it meets the criteria for UL, meaning the documentation that assures you that it's safe. Okay. And look at this variable. I'll come back to price because we always want to talk about price because that seems to be near and dear to everybody's heart. Look at this price. I just put a number of $95 a pail in there. I just threw it in there just for a number. If I put it on thick, in other words, I'm getting maybe 800 square feet per gallon, I'm only going to get 20,000 square feet out of that pail, and it's going to cost me it's going to cost me 4.75 cents, okay, per square foot. If I put it on medium, so say I get about 1,500 square feet, I'm going to get 75,000 square feet out of that same pail. In other words, for 1.25 cents a square foot, and that's what I'd call medium. If I put it on nice, thin, but effective for sure, I'm going to get about 100,000 square feet out of that pail using 2,000 square feet per gallon as my coverage, less than a penny per square foot to apply it. Okay, so there's certainly the variable coverage. It'll affect the true ready-to-use cost by as much as 80%. So how can we help you save money? How can we help you with safe floors and your budgets post coronavirus? This is exactly the way. So hopefully this is, there's lots of floor care specialists in the industry across North America. Obviously, we want you to use a Charlotte customer there and Enviro Solutions. But believe me, this is the expertise that you need to rely on. So if you need that, by all means, call us and we'll aim you in the right direction. As far as a webinar goes, I always put this up because it's one of the popular questions. How do I find the webinars? Can I find them again? Do you charge for them? I mean, can I go back to the third one you did or whatever? These are all, if you click on the tab and you go to programs, you can see it circled in the top, and you just drill down to infection prevention. Click on it, these come up. We don't hide them from anybody. It doesn't matter who looks at them, as long as we hope that people are looking at them, fine-tuning those benefits to their facility and really making good decisions, safer decisions. And we want you, our goal since day one has been to lower the risk of an outbreak. So those things are on there. We put all the resources on there as well. This week I didn't put the Unger link on there, but I've mentioned it enough there, that Unger Stingray system. Look at that. I mean, it may be something that really helps you with plexiglass and labor efficiencies and safe cleaning. And really, as a summary, before we get to the questions here, this is our 12th seminar or webinar. I keep saying seminar. It's our 12th. Thank you for joining us, because we sincerely appreciate it. We're going to continue next Friday's June the 5th, which quite honestly, I can't believe it's June already. When we started, it was freezing cold. If you remember Askwith and I outside freezing before we did the manufacturing tour, which, by the way, is still one of the most popular videos that's toured and visited. We're going to talk about the most recent COVID-19 updates next week, but we're also going to talk about manual and or mechanized cleaning methods and building reentry. And we're going to talk about disinfecting your equipment. That's been a popular question. How do we know it's safe? How do I ensure that it's disinfected? Because any piece of equipment is like a custodian or janitor. They walk through everywhere in a building, so there's a big chance of cross-contamination. So let's address that head on there. So, and now joining me, I'm going to call in Askwith Williams, and if IT can hand us our sheets, our question sheets. We're going to go to that portion there. Okay, and there you go. And that's great. Thanks for gathering those for us again, as always. So welcome to the show again, Askwith.
Well, thanks for having me, Jimmy.
Yeah,
nice to be here.
Yeah, good. Have you been making lots of hand sanitizer this week, or what have you been making? He doesn't like that question, but I have him live on the last 2 weeks saying he's got it. But actually, he did indeed come to the table this week, but I'm sure it'll be one of the questions here for sure. Matt, thanks for handling the online there, and Jen as well. This is a question here from last week that we didn't get to. We had a little we ran out of time, actually, but this is Randall. Actually, this is appropriate that you did discuss providing more information about your alcohol-based hand sanitizer this week. Can I get an update? And is there a difference in quality? Good questions.
Very good question. There's a difference in quality in terms of the quality of the ethanol, which is, in fact, is the critical part of the whole equation. Mm-hmm. So, when you look at ethanol, one has to see the heart, the head, and the tail. It all depends on the quality. Mm-hmm. So you'll have a technical grade, you'll have a USP grade, right, and so forth. So we use USP grade ethanol, okay, which is the top of the line ethanol. Mm-hmm. You might find that some people just use any bit of ethanol, and you can tell by the smell of the ethanol. You can see. For our products, it's nice, it's clear, and does not have any adverse effect.
Oh, this one right here, right?
Absolutely.
Right there, as a matter of fact. Yeah, that is actually, I think I've used this before. I've smelled this before. Yeah, that does smell, it smells nice. Some of the ones that I smell are actually bad.
Absolutely. So that's critical. So the quality of the, of the ethanol is crucial. And so you can have a lousy product, and you can have a first class product. Yeah. This one is absolutely.
So that's first class. Yeah, I've used that. I mean, it's got a really nice moisturizer type additive to it, which is nice, and that's great there. Now, I've even seen a couple of them as recent as yesterday, Askwith, that were claiming. I mean, it looked like hand sanitizer. They were sort of selling it as hand sanitizer. When I got to the fine print, which I could barely read on the label, it was a 59% alcohol. It had no NPN registration number, and it also fooled me and the customer that bought it. It called it a hand cleanser. It didn't even refer to it as a hand sanitizer. Is that out there in the marketplace?
Oh yes, a lot of it is out there. So it has to be, if you want to have the good quality product, must have an NPN number from Health Canada.
Yes.
You must have that. And of course, the alcohol content should range from, the mid 60s and upwards.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's critical as well.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, Randall, that's a great question. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'll just show it here because I just spot. Oh, sorry, right there. If you look about midway down right here, you'll see the NPN number is right there, and that's as important as having a DIN number, an EPA number on a disinfectant. Correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. Well, Randall, great question there. Okay. Eric, this is from Eric. What's the difference between an odor counteractant spray and a deodorizer spray?
Well, you know, an odor counteractant actually does combine with the odor molecules. It changed the structure, and so that your olfactory system does not pick that odor up. And then you have the other stuff, which is relatively inexpensive and just a masking aid.
And so it'd take a room that smelt bad or surface and turn it into a vanilla smelling room, or orange or lemon or banana or something like that. Okay.
And that is correct.
So that's good. So that basically encapsulates the odor molecules.
It encapsulates the odor molecule. So change the structure of the molecule so that your olfactory, your receptors cannot pick that up.
Good. Excellent. Well, hopefully that answers your question. Here is a long question from Ken. If I spray a so-called disinfectant spray in the room, and it clearly states that it'll disinfect surfaces in 3 minutes, now understanding your disinfectant protocol of dwell time, and this is an aerosol can that I point out here, how can they possibly say that it will disinfect? Because there's no way it'll stay wet 3 minutes. It doesn't make sense. And do I have to, I'm assuming I have to spray surfaces several times or much longer than a quick spray like TV where they just go squirt and it's done there. And he's saying the same thing with wet wipes. They say that they'll kill in short time frames, but the wet wipes are actually fairly dry to begin with. How can you help Ken here with that?
Well, two things. When you're disinfecting, you should clean gross soils first.
Yes.
Number one. Number two, you need to use a proper disinfectant that has a DIN number. Therefore, the product has been certified by Health Canada. And thirdly, you need to have dwell time. Dwell time is absolutely critical. So those three things must be done in order to do proper disinfection.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier in the screen. So that can you spray, obviously you're not pre-cleaning anything. You're just
drama.
I mean, I've seen it even back in the day when people would rent shoes or bowling shoes or dress shoes or wedding shoes. I mean, I've seen them just put a little spray of disinfectant. So actually, that's not doing it, right?
That's not doing the job.
Okay, well,
you need dwell time.
Yeah.
You need to remove gross soils, and you need to follow the instructions on the label.
Yeah. If you can read the label, because it's usually so small, you can't do it.
Yes.
Here's John, who's saying he's a new registrant. My custodian told me about your ES15 pump sprayers sprayers this last week. And are they still available? And will this assist us with extending the disinfectant dwell time to achieve the 5 minutes?
Yes, absolutely. We still have those pump-up sprays available.
We do.
You've got one there.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite actual device there. I used it on the Plexiglass too. Yeah.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
And of course, with that product, it also dispenses with the correct amount of product that you need to enhance your dwell time.
Yeah.
Dwell time. That's very, very critical to have that.
So, John, they are still available. They are going fast without question. Now, I know when we were talking about this hand sanitizer, this is the U.S. Our U.S. partners won't like this, but is this true? It's only available in Canada?
For now. We're working on it so that we can have an FDA product. And we should have that in the coming weeks.
When do you think that's going to come? I mean, you've had a hard enough time filling Canada.
You're putting
like 2023 there. So that's coming. Just having fun with it. Donna here is keep up the great information sessions. Great to see information that we can all utilize in our businesses. Do you sell direct or through distribution? I think we've had those questions before. Can you arrange to have somebody contact us for follow-up? And we need people like yourselves to aim us in the correct direction. So. Sales question.
I think Jimmy should answer that one.
Yeah, Donna, absolutely. Just contact us, and we'll give you, depending on where you're located, we'll pass along our distributors that across North America that are in your local area. So we do aggressive training with all of our distributor partners as well. So whether it's floor care or washroom care or carpet care or disinfecting, sanitizing, food service, it doesn't matter what it is there. So we can do that. So ask with Rihanna here, if I wear the proper PPE according to the SDS, will this lower the exposure of most anything I may encounter during my cleaning shift? And do I have the right to ask my company to supply me with one of those sheets?
Oh, yes, a very good question. You should follow the instructions on the SDS. The SDS is there actually to help employees stay safe. And of course, you have the right to ask your company to supply those things to you to keep you safe and healthy.
Okay. Oh boy, we're running out of time again. I just noticed it here. I got pages of questions here, but we'll get to offline. But here's Frank, a very good question. I work the takeout window at a local sandwich sub shop. We now have contactless food service. Is there anything I need to do to improve my health and safety? What if a customer is coughing towards my direction at the takeout window?
Well, you should have a plexiglass. I think you discussed that about plexiglass or sneeze guards and so on. You should have that there. And of course, it should be cleaned regularly and disinfected regularly on both sides of it.
Yeah, and probably Frank should wear a mask.
And he should wear a mask.
Yeah,
and gloves, of course.
Yeah, and gloves, of course, there, and disinfect and sanitize on a regular basis. I think I've got... I've really only got a question for about one more, and time for one more. So, here's Charlie. Thank you for sharing the dilution ratio math. That's very simple and easy to understand. That certainly puts a different perspective on the cost of a product. Thank you, Charlie. There you go. That's why we're here. Here's Jean. I have environmental service responsibilities at a large city healthcare facility. We are old school and have our budgets reduced over the last 5 years. We need to lower our costs, but I need to know, I also need to ramp up cleaning frequencies. What ways can I possibly achieve that? There's a lot of ways.
That's many ways. Of course, use concentrates. You talk about dilution control and how inexpensive they are when you look at the whole thing. You talk about procedures and, of course, training. And you just basically follow the rules, follow the instructions on the label, and if you need some help, of course, we're here to help. Yeah,
I think Charlie will. We'll help you. Just contact us, and we'll put you in the right direction. Here's Brian. Do you recommend the Stingray cleaning tool for high windows, glass and plexi? Does it extend? Yes, it goes actually about 12 feet. There's two sections there, Brian. Two sections. There's lots of different cleaning tools as well. You've got you put your glass cleaner of choice in the cartridge. A little battery goes into it. You press the button, and it actually applies the glass cleaner or disinfectant 12 feet in the air. Plus the wand's about 12 feet. Plus, if you're 6 feet and you take 1.5 feet or 2 feet of arm, you can go fairly substantial there. So I certainly recommend it there. Here's one more, and then we'll wrap it up, and we'll have to. Barb and Robert and Jules and Matthew and Bernard and Sandra and Andrew and Arthur and whatever here. You two should consider a live Ask the Expert panel on the radio or a podcast. I learn something every single week, and I actually get to use in my workplace. As you say, lower the risk of an outbreak. That's okay. So we could do a radio show maybe. And one more, Jules, you talked about plexiglass today. Am I okay with using your glass cleaner, or I am okay using your glass cleaner alone? Correct? Do I have to disinfect all the time, or perhaps when it shows visible food matter only?
Well, I would, you cannot over disinfect anything.
Yeah.
I would disinfect as often as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And to keep you safe and keep your customers safe.
Yeah.
And basically, rinse the surfaces with potable water so that you don't have streaks, any residual on the glass.
Excellent. Good advice there. Thank you again for joining us, Asquith. We're out of time. We like to respect the time, keep it, that 45, 50-minute time frame. We could talk all day, obviously. But I mean, our 12th week there, Friday, May 29th, I want to say and send out a great big thank you to everybody that's joined us. Whether you're new or from day one, we appreciate your valuable time, and hopefully you're learning a few neat things and a few efficient ways to really lower the risk of an outbreak. So until next week, I'll sign off and ask you've always got some encouraging words for us.
Well, encouraging words, go outside, enjoy the summer, enjoy the weather, social distancing, and of course, keep washing your hands.
Yeah, your tagline there. So, of course, as Asquith says, keep washing your hands. So, again, until next week, thank you very much. And we'll answer your questions we didn't get to online and things. And thank you, and have a great weekend again.